we go. We are live. Brandon, how's it going? Welcome to the Microsoft Teams make Microsoft Teams your phone system show.
Good afternoon. Rick apparently needs some extra coffee or a Red Bull.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm excited to join everyone. I'm here in Arizona today, which is supposed to be sunny Arizona, but there's been a cloud cover out, which is a bit disappointing when you come from Seattle down to Arizona and expecting to see some sun, and it's just not full on sun today. So,
Well,
but it's
you should
okay.
be in Denver. The sun is shining as usual.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, but guess what? We're here. We're ready to have a cool show. I'm excited about this. We got a lot to talk about. Before we get started, why don't we kick things off, Brandon, with what you've got?
What I've got as far as the demo.
Yeah, well, let's just start with the audio. Let's introduce what
Uh,
we're tell everybody what we're gonna do.
yeah, so I'm gonna make a phone call into our auto attendant and welcome everyone to the call. So in order to do that, obviously I got to share my screen so I can share audio. So let's see if I can get this to work. Nothing
Hey,
like
that's it.
technology.
That's interactive, isn't it? This is an interactive show today, right? Not only will we be interacting with the audience, so if you got questions, please bring your questions to the table here in a bit, but we're also going to be interfacing with Microsoft Teams. So go right ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, so I'm popping up my Teams admin center because everything Teams phone system, right? So we're looking at an auto attendant, just a real basic one that we set up. You and I set up just 3 minutes before this call, so that's how easy and quick it is to set up an auto attendant. Obviously, this is not a complex one, but we gave it an 800 number as our main line, and we just quickly play or typed out the way we want to greet our listeners, and just a little fun prompt, and away we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call back into this 866 number, and hopefully you'll have to confirm that you hear my audio here. So here we go. And
I'll
you
let
can
you know.
follow along the prompts here on my screen as I make the call. I'm going to keep the other phone off my screen, and here comes the call.
Thank you for joining the Everything Teams phone live show with Rick and Brandon. Press 1 or say 1 to continue listening to the live event. Press 2 or say 2 to continue listening to the live event, or press 3 or say 3 to, guess what? Continue listening to the live event.
3.
I think you said 3. Is that correct? Say yes or no, or press 1 for
Yes.
yes or 2 for no. Thank you for participating.
And there you have it.
Well, there you have it. That's
A quick
what a
auto
welcome.
attendant.
Welcome everybody to the Everything Microsoft Teams phone show, and it's pretty cool to have everyone greeted with a auto attendant that we built 3 minutes ago to welcome you to the show. Not many options were available on that auto attendant. It seems like all you could do is continue to the show, so that's you know
Yeah,
that's
we
kind of
did.
how we made it.
You didn't want me to give away a car, and you know, I was pretty limited with my options in 3 minutes.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, let's do this. Everyone, I'm going to share a screen with you, and we're going to show, we'll get this presentation situated here so I can walk you through what we're going to talk about today. So let's get this slideshow going here, and we'll go from there. There. That is my window. Let's share the whole window here. And can you see my screen there, Brandon? Can you see my
Oh yeah,
PowerPoint?
no, I see us over and over again. You're sharing the meeting.
There we go. Let's stop doing that then. This is on a travel system today, not the normal system. So be patient with us, everyone. We'll get this right here in just a second. That was the share a screen. Let's see about a Chrome tab. How about that? Let's see here. No, a window. Let's see how that's going to work out. Let's see here.
I can
Technical
quickly stand up a
difficulties.
yeah, I can quickly stand up a support line on that auto attendant if you need to dial in
There
for
you
that.
go. There you go. You should do that. Let's not. I don't want to share the Let me try just the Chrome tab because I think I shared the window last time, and you saw the whole thing. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see this if this happens again. So you're seeing the whole thing, right? So you're seeing all the stuff.
Yep.
But let me put this in presentation mode. How about now?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that is different than the way it works on the home system here. So let's
Fire it over to me and I can put it up on the screen if you want.
let's maybe I'll do that there. Let me take one more stab at it here and we'll go from there. Right. I think I
Teams
did
phone is easier than PowerPoint, we'll say that.
well, there's there's that. Yeah, let me shoot it over to you, Brandon. You can share this thing for us and we'll go from there. Let's see here. All right. And then we'll get started. So you'll have that there. I wanted to show the agenda, so I'll just talk to the agenda a little bit while Brandon's receiving that document. So we're gonna obviously some house cleaning things. We're gonna talk about who G12 is just for a little bit. We're gonna talk about some Teams misconceptions because not everyone understands how Teams can be their enterprise phone system, and so we want to share with the world that Microsoft Teams can and should be your enterprise Teams phone system or your enterprise phone system. Not only if you are a 10-person law office, but also if you're a 10,000 user hospital, if you're a 5,000 user global nonprofit. There's so many use cases for a lot of different components within the Microsoft Teams phone system. We do this all day, every day. And certainly we believe that Microsoft Teams phone system is the absolute best phone system that has been deployed that can unify this communication space. Some history in 1996, the Bells broke up, right, and provided all these different competitors that we can compete for phone service and phone systems and things like that. And now you've never seen at any point from 1996 on anything that can unify this particular market. And let's talk about why you would want to unify this market as an example. And I don't mean by companies, by being dominated by a single company, but unify a solution. So in the breakup of all that, you've got solutions that were cloud-based solutions, just telecom companies that were providing their own sort of solution. And it's been a real fragmented space, right? You've got the global providers, let's say at AT&T as an example, or Verizon, having provided services for the enterprise for years and years and years. And then you've got the new players that were delivering new services like RingCentral, right? Come up, 2005 or so, somewhere around there, and start delivering services. And obviously, we know the competitors in that space, the Rings, the Eights, and all those good things, and all those good providers like that. And you saw the shift to that per user model. You saw the shift to cloud solutions, but you really didn't see it take hold. And this is obviously from us, Brandon and I being in the space for a long time. We'll go back and we'll talk about our history here, where we came from and where we started at G12. But having supported these organizations, you really saw mainstream kind of 2014, 15, 16, 17 really start to hit for cloud communications. Obviously, Teams was into the space with Lync, Skype for Business, and all sorts of, and then the newest sort of iteration is Teams now. Teams having that staying power now. Obviously, when we hit the pandemic, popularity grew seemingly overnight. It really wasn't overnight, but it seemed like it was overnight, where Teams and Zoom sort of cropped up, and now those two platforms are really, the collaboration platforms are really kind of diving into that UCaaS space and pulling a lot of the PSTN revenue into their models, not necessarily their company, but their models. So what's nice about Microsoft being able to unify this space is that they can provide a ubiquitous platform across any size company and deliver high quality advanced services. One of the things that I'd like to share with people is that, on a legacy phone system, take your Cisco, your Mitel, your Avayas, the majority of the features that were built in those platforms were built before voicemail was even built and invented. Isn't that crazy? So you think about a call forwarding or things like that. Those features have been around for decades, right? At least now, when we've got a modern phone system like Microsoft Teams, you're able to work through or work with features that are built today and how we use services today. So it's really how we consume services today. So it's really exciting to be part of that environment and a part of that cog. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so Brandon, you've got our spreadsheet, our thing up. Let's go a couple of pages. Let's just talk about. I think I kind of laid out the agenda just a little bit. You're going to see. I think if we stop at the agenda slide, you are going to see. Go for it. Go for it.
Real quick. If I go into full present mode, do you see the whole presentation? Oops.
Let's see.
Not that one. I need F5, not F12. There we go.
Yeah, that looks perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
So a little bit about G12. We started, Brandon and I both came out of a company called 360 Networks. And we started G12 Communications in 2011. And Brandon was part of that rollout of 360 Networks. And we were a wholesale provider providing underlying telco services to guys like 8x8 and Nextiva and Jive and all these different Google Voice, all these different carriers were our customers for network services, right? Network services, phone numbers, termination, things like that. So at the wholesale level. In 2011, when we sold 360 Networks to Zayo, G12 Communication was born. And what basically that enabled us to do is understand how VoIP providers consume the services. And then we soon rolled out and started G12 Communications, and here we are now today, delivering UCaaS, delivering lots and lots of Teams, direct routing, and Operator Connect, and UCaaS combined with Microsoft Teams. So we like to say Teams anyway. G12 supports it. So let's. That's me, and then Brandon, you want to talk about what you do, buddy? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the show, you probably can't see my video very well while I'm presenting, but the show is brought to you by a little throwback on my sleeve, 360 Networks. What's left of it anyway, G12 Communications. But for those of you that don't know, I'm here on board as Chief Technology Officer, so I'm in charge of making the tech work. So Rick and I are good at kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. He likes the big picture, and I like the getting into the weeds.
You'll not get any of that by this presentation. Let's see what that looks like. All right, let's kick things off here. Let's talk about. We talked about who G12 is. We can skip that. One thing to note is that we've been doing this for a long time. So the early iterations in 2014, we were certified as a SIP trunking provider into Microsoft Lync. 2018, we started doing direct routing. 2019, we did our UCaaS integrated with Microsoft Teams, and then now, obviously, early last year, we started in the Operator Connect platform with Microsoft, and it's been pretty exciting. So we support lots of healthcare, government, financial, enterprise. And what I haven't done yet is shown that we support a lot of nonprofit and educational institutions. I should put those up on that slide, but I haven't yet. But if you're a nonprofit, or if you're an academic higher education institution, as an example, stick around. You should send us a note, because there's absolutely no reason why you guys do not make Microsoft Teams your phone system. You'd save on your budget. You drive features into into this century essentially, and boy, it's such an amazing platform for you guys to take advantage of from a cost perspective. So we'll talk about that. The numbers here, this is really exciting to see. Microsoft just came out a couple of weeks ago, said that their new user base, it's 280 million daily subscribers, 280 million subscribers. Of those 280 million subscribers, about 45 million of them are E5. What does that mean? That means essentially that there are 30 or so million people with 15 million PSTN lines active. There are about 35 or 30 million people out there that have an E5 license that do not have Microsoft Teams lines attached to them, or Teams PSTN lines attached to them. So you're already paying for the phone system. Let's use the phone system for that. This is fantastic. Okay, licensing numbers. Here's what things look like. There's some. This chart can look confusing, and there's a lot of there's different levels of licenses and names for them and everything. But the gist of this thing is obviously if you've got an E5, A5, or G5 license, you've already got the phone system included. You don't need anything else except a PSTN provider like G12 Communications. If you've got an A1 or A3 or E3 or E1 or G1 or G3, if you have any of those, you need to add the phone system to it. Now, typically for an enterprise, I think you're sitting around $8 to add the phone system. There's also a delta that you'll need to investigate between, let's say, an E3 and an E5. Maybe it's worth it adding the E5. You get so many other security security features that you may just be worth adding the A5 license and or the E5 license, and off you go. So that's typically about $8. And the reason that I said earlier for academic institutions and nonprofits, the reason I said that earlier is because instead of that $8, you guys get the phone system license for about $3.20 if memory serves me right. And I could be completely wrong. My hair is getting very gray, so I don't know, but it should be $3.20 is what I think the number is. So if you could imagine, start calculating now. We've got a calculator for you, a spreadsheet at the end of the day, at the end of this presentation. But if you have that license, you're in for a treat. You really are. And then I think that's really it there. And then you just need to add the PSTN to that. Okay, misconceptions. Brandon, let's talk about misconceptions. Okay, I'll let you chime in on this too complicated thing. What do you think about complicated? Is Teams a complicated phone system to deploy, manage, or
yeah,
run?
I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head talking about licensing, right? If you're licensed, the phone system's already 95% deployed, if you will, right? It's more about creating your call flow and connecting your PSTN. I mean, like we just demoed with the auto attendant, right? It takes minutes to walk through their auto attendant and call queue builder, right? It's step by step. It's very clearly outlined, not complicated at all.
Yeah, very good, very good. And every now and then you get pushback from organizations, and we experience, because we do this all day, every day. So every now and then you'll hear someone say, "But I had a Microsoft moment," my could Teams serve as my real phone solution, because it's just not. I don't consider it so reliable. What do you say to that?
I would say that's any system and any design that you should question, right? Not just because you're used to something, therefore it's reliable. And Microsoft has the statistics that really back up their reliability. And then we obviously, maybe later in the show or another show, we talk about how we come in with our PSTN and network design to Microsoft to beef up that reliability from a call flow perspective.
Yeah. Well, and Microsoft is standing behind it, not only with verbal, not only with, here are the numbers and stats, but certainly they're backing it up with an SLA now. So as of last year, I think the Microsoft SLA has moved from 3 nines to 4 nines, and the difference between, what does 4 nines actually mean to anyone? Well, 4 nines means allotting for 53 minutes of downtime per year. Right, so for every 12 months, potential for 53 minutes of downtime. So Microsoft's really putting the emphasis into delivering a unified solution for the globe, really. So not a problem from a reliability perspective. I think they're doing an amazing job, and we're certainly behind it all. Can't connect phones or physical analog devices. Let's just say you're a hospital. Okay, let's just say you're a hospital, and you've got red phones, and you've got emergency devices, you've got door actuators, and you've got all sorts of components lying all around your facility. And I'm a legacy Cisco guy, running around my hospital, and I look at Teams and I go, it's this soft phone thing. It's like how's that going to be my phone system? You
Well,
can connect analog devices. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say again, my picture's small, but sitting right over my shoulder here, I've got a legacy Cisco phone that is actively connected and registered to our demo tenant, which I can share later. But no special anything was required for that phone as far as any kind of Teams firmware, anything, right? It's an off-the-shelf Cisco device phone, plugged in and registered to the Teams phone system. And
now that
just
phone
one of many examples of how many
yeah
phones are supported.
Yeah. So real quick, this is super exciting because a lot of people don't even know about this. But if you've bought a phone system from Cisco in the last few years, and you've got a VoIP Cisco phone, right? So there's a bunch of series, and we'll go through the list of the Cisco phones that are qualified. And you've got the MPP firmware sitting on there. I think that's the VoIP firmware that Cisco has. Or if you've bought from a large UCaaS provider, we won't name anyone, but they start with an R and an 8, and some other ones. So if you've bought UCaaS service in the last few years, and you have a Yealink or a Polycom phone sitting on your desk, guess what? Those devices, also the Cisco's, can connect right to Microsoft Teams. So those devices get to continue their use. I mean, you can continue to use those devices in your facility. So let's go back to the hospital, in your facility like you have been using. So you don't have to manage or get ready for a large CapEx sort of increase for next year for new phones. You don't necessarily need to have new phones. Analog devices as well. Well, you can connect analog devices to Microsoft Teams now, and those analog devices are responsible for door actuators, overhead paging, and intercoms, and all sorts of components. Obviously, faxes, whatever, all sorts of components around any particular facility. So those are the misconceptions that when you think about Microsoft Teams, you can use phones, you can plug in analog lines. It's super reliable, and it's certainly not complicated. So at least for organizations that that have been deploying UCaaS and CCaaS for the better part of a decade. So let's get off to the next slide here. I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to skip through some of this stuff and get right to the features. Now, there's a list of things that we typically talk about from a deployment perspective, and I think we're gonna skip this deployment sort of discussion in favor of getting right to the nuts and bolts of what the features are in the Microsoft Teams phone system, and then really getting to show you what that system looks like. So let's get to the features and talk through some of those features. What does Microsoft Teams Phone have included out of the box? Some of my favorite ones we've listed here: call recording and real-time transcription. Brandon, tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, really fairly new feature from Microsoft, and when I say new, like back probably October, November timeframe. But convenience-based call recording, for companies that need the occasional call recording, they need to be able to store it, save it, reference it. Just a really easy setting that can be enabled right in the Teams phone system, and now it's available to any user that you choose to allow to enable call recording for. And then on top of that, what you can do is you can take and do real-time transcription as well as the call recording. So now you've got a transcribed text version of the call that's been recorded that now is searchable through, text. You want to put it in a database, you want to put it out on SharePoint, wherever you want to put it, you can search for it, you can reference it, you can see that text real time as it's happening on the call, and then historically after the call. Really handy for people like me who really hate taking notes during calls.
Pretty exciting. How about the screen pop? One of my favorites is if you live in a CRM, if you live in a trouble ticket solution, and you've got an application that's absolutely required for you to have a customer's information right in front of you. What do you say about those things? I mean, that screen pop thing is it, right?
yeah, let's not talk about it. Let's show it, right? I can
Oh,
show that in a demo. And
fire away. I love it.
it's very customizable, right? It's not, it's CRM agnostic, right? You decide where you want that screen pop to go. For my demo, it's going to a Zendesk environment. It could go to Salesforce. It could go to, ServiceNow. It could be any flavor that you're consuming today. And when I say demo, Garcia, you tell me whether you want me to demo now or later.
Oh no, I mean, why don't you go ahead? I'll talk about the auto attendant while you crank that thing up. So the auto attendant, obviously, at the top of the hour, we played the auto attendant live for you, and that was just a gimmicky way of having you listen to what the auto attendant sounds like. And I'll talk about one of the features that's in the auto attendant, and there's two of them that are really cool. It's the text to speech and the audio, or not and the speech recognition. So those are the two that are built into the auto attendant. There are some other things that are really cool, like auto attendant statistics that I'll talk about too in a while. But essentially, 3 minutes before we started this call, we thought it'd be really cool to say welcome to the show. So we built an auto attendant. We played the auto attendant live for you. We gave you 3 options: press 1, 2, or 3. All of them were to continue the show, listening to the show. We didn't give you many options except to continue, but you got to continue in the show, and you got to listen to what the rest of the auto attendant says. And the highlight there was the speech to text recognition was really cool, because all you do is you type it out. It took no time for us to get a recording. So for organizations that have to change recordings on a regular basis, that's something that you don't have to worry about. You speech to text it, right? And then from a audio or from a speech recognition perspective, being able to just say 1, 2, 3, whatever the number is, or whatever the word is that you type out in the auto attendant, those things are all really exciting, because that gives you the opportunity to just have your experience for your customers tailored, and really provide just a better customer experience. Okay, Brandon, are we set to launch that test?
We are. I'm going to switch the audio source just so I don't listen to myself talking to myself. So I've logged in as a demo user. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place a call into this 720 number, advertising that to the world for spammers. But what should happen is the call is going to come in. I'm going to receive the call, and when I answer that call, I'm going to see I've got a few browsers open across my 6 monitors. So I'm hoping it pops on this screen, but if it doesn't, I'll drag it over onto the screen share. So let's just go get this done. Let's see. So what number am I dialing? 720 64 4742.
And this is,
All right.
again, if you're in an organization that needs to see Salesforce pop up at the same time as your Teams call comes in, or Zendesk, like you said, pop up at the same time. And there's your screen pop right there. So a call comes in.
Yep. So you can see my call opened in the background. And let me mute myself here. And now there's my screen pop. And all I'm doing on this screen pop is a pretty basic. I'm sending in, you can see up in the tab, I sent in the caller's number, and I did a search for users. You could search for ticket records, orders, whatever your, medical records, whatever your business case is going to be. I did user just because obviously this is actually our ticketing system, so I didn't want to pop into tickets and expose anything. But if I clicked on this user, then I could then drill down to how many tickets this person has opened, whether they have active open tickets. And as you can imagine, what becomes really nice about that is you're talking to them on the phone, and you can quickly get to, oh, hey, customer, I see you're possibly calling about this, instead of just grilling the customer with a ton of questions up front. All the while
Very
you've got
cool.
the call going.
Yeah,
And
very cool. So, go ahead.
And then just real quick, since we've got the screen up and we've got the call up, here's our record and transcribe. I can start recording, I can start transcription. And if I do that, mine is set to set both at the same time. Once it gets going, I'll probably have to unmute myself, but then so I don't know, let's see if we can get this thing to go. Yeah, there we go. So now I'm talking to I'm the customer talking to the agent right now, and you can see it's picking up all of my speech across the board, but you see it transcribing real time, and it does it with quite a bit of accuracy, actually.
What's cool about this feature here? What's cool about this? If think about this, I mean, the audio file and the text gets stored in your chat, gets stored in your SharePoint, right? And it is now searchable. It's a searchable database. So again, going back to that customer experience, you're able to take a look at this, and you're able to create policy and rules and engagement rules around how customer how customer interaction should be handled. So it gives you a lot of data to start building around that customer experience, as well as supporting whatever communications you may have with your customer. It supports, someone said this and we really said this, right? So all those become searchable data within your platform so that you can create that sort of customer experience. And again, just improve your business efficiency. It's all about the whole collaboration, communication. If you drill down to what this is all about, Brandon, it's all about solving business problems for organizations. That's what it comes down to. Is it's not this fancy feature stuff, great, but and there's a lot of really fancy features, and we're going to go through some of the stuff. But ultimately, it's about solving business problems. And so the more, let's say our CSPs that we support, our certified partners, the Microsoft partners that we support, the more that they understand about the features, the more they can go solve business problems within those organizations. Some CSPs we work with deploy a lot of teams and and then some CSPs, Teams and phone service isn't their specialty, so they work with us to help with that regard. So for those of you that are listening out there, your organization, bring your CSP to the table. Let's work with your CSP, introduce them to G12, and we'll talk about how we help deliver Teams telephony into your organization. So let's keep on with the you got the real-time transcription. We talked about auto attendance. We talked about CRM integration and screen pop. What's next on the feature list, Brandon, here?
Oh, and that started me over. So give me one sec. There we go.
Dynamic 911 is important. So understanding where you're at, you're able to identify different locations that you may spend time at and have those built into your Teams calling experience. One of the things that we don't typically cover is, what does a Teams experience look like? Okay, here is your Teams interface right here. Oh, go ahead, Brandon. Yep, you're showing it.
Real quick, I just want to call out, dynamic 911, right? The ability to change your address on the fly and support nomadic, right? That's, again, goes back to the Ray Bombs compliance that the FCC enacted. What was that, January of 22, I think. So just wanted to show that real quick.
Yeah, very good. No, I was going to say we don't typically show the end user experience, and so for some organizations out there, they really haven't even they don't understand yet or haven't experienced what Teams as a phone system looks like. So at some point, maybe we'll cover that for everyone. So network testing, that's in Microsoft Teams, you get the ability to build a site, add how many users you are to the site, and start planning for the network stats or the network requirements at that particular location. So that's a really cool tool in there. The call quality dashboards and call statistic reports that you get out of Microsoft Teams out of the box. The call quality dashboards, those are really cool because you can see the MOS scores, you can see, latency, you can see different components of the calls and see which calls are being delivered properly, if they sound great, just in case you get anyone that says they maybe didn't have a quality call. I would say the large, I guess not like everyone, like I never really get any quality issues with Teams when I'm making phone calls. And what's interesting about that is that typically you'll see degradation when you're using other applications. Let's say you're on WhatsApp or something like that at a Starbucks, right? Microsoft Teams, I'm not quite sure from a networking perspective what it does, but Microsoft Teams seems to work well with just about any internet that I've ever encountered. Is that what you experience as well too, Brandon?
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, Microsoft's designed their application to be internet centric, right? Where they expect the user to consume the service from the internet, not from dedicated connections. I'm talking about the end user experience. And so with that, they've incorporated, the latest audio compression technologies to allow for, that high definition audio experience. But then at the same time, they're able to detect, real time statistics against the network to decide whether they need to adjust the quality to make sure that the user experience is still perceived as high quality. A lot of technical stuff there. Just long story short is they've spent a lot of resource time creating a very powerful internet centered tool for communication and collaboration.
Yeah. Let's kick the last thing I'll say about this. If you're a healthcare organization listening right now, end-to-end encryption, when you work with a HIPAA compliant organization like G12 Communications, and you're obviously working in a platform like Microsoft Teams, you maintain your HIPAA compliancy across the board. So some basic stuff to call groups, to call hold, call park, call queues, and voice-enabled channels. The voice-enabled channel being the newest, one of the newest features there. So if you've got a group of people in Microsoft Teams, you can certainly drive a call into a group of people in Microsoft Teams as a channel. So that's pretty cool as well. So those lots of cool features there. Obviously, the simultaneous ring, the music on hold for PSTN calls, the networks and locations. I think we talked about webinar events is pretty cool. And Microsoft Teams Premium, I think, is GA now. There's a whole slew. We'll dedicate a section to, and next time to the Microsoft Premium features that are coming out. And then simultaneous ring. What hit GA today as well was the user. Sorry, let me. The user control, the hold, not hold. Busy on busy. User control is what went GA recently. I think that was last week, where essentially now a user, it used to be at the admin level when you were in a meeting or in a call and a call would come in, what would happen to that call? You'd either get that call and be annoyed, or you would not receive the call at all and you just get a notification. So, and that was up to the administrator. Now they've put the call or that call control in the hands of the user. So you can then route to a voicemail. You can take that call and put somebody else on hold, or you can just reject that call. So that busy on busy control is now available to the users. Again, this is the exciting thing about working in Microsoft Teams, is that they are pumping out features seems like every week, but every month there's something new that goes GA that enables you as a business to solve real business problems. All right, what else we have on there, Brandon?
I think we already covered this, but this is the list of SIP gateway devices.
That's the gateway devices, the IP phones. What's interesting about this is that if you look on the Yealink device lists in particular, if you look, and I'm squinting because I'm on a 13-inch screen here, but if you look deep into this list here and you look at the, there's like some T29Gs in there, something like that. Those are old. Those are like 10 years old. And so if you've got devices that have been deployed and you're a UCaaS customer, like I said, of those big UCaaS companies, you can use those devices for Microsoft Teams. You can have an up-to-date phone system and just keep those phones there. Why would you want to do that, by the way? Why would you want to keep old phones, okay? There's a couple of reasons. I'll give you one, Brandon. Let's see if you've got one for me too. So number one, I'll go from a business perspective. You don't have to worry about CapEx. Okay, that's number one. You don't have to worry about CapEx if you use your same phones again. What's another one, Brandon, that you've got?
I mean, I could go off on a lot of technical reasons, but from a business perspective, you're not taxed with coming up with documentation to teach people how to use a new phone, right? There's a new button layout. There's new features, right? Your company's already embedded in a technology, and if there's no real need to upgrade that technology, maybe that's why is you don't want to spend resource time to retrain.
Well, if you ask any CSP or if you ask nearly any IT person, right? Now this is not the business guys, but maybe it's the IT guys. The idea is essentially everyone wants to phase physical phones out anyway. It's another layer of management that they have to work on, right? Swapping out phones, this one dropped. I mean, so it's a whole complex thing, asset tags, all sorts of things like that. So if you ask anyone, what do they want to do? They want to phase out phones, and we're seeing it right now. We're seeing, I don't know, for every 100 users, as an example, we're seeing maybe 20 people take down physical phones or want physical phones. So the numbers are gaining or against the physical handset. So if you've got there you go, Keith. If you have an actual device still on your desk, why train someone and roll out a new device when you can just use that same one? They know how to use it. So user adoption is there. Don't have to worry about it. And number two, you don't have to pay for it. And number three, you don't have to manage it. Phase it out, right? So reasons to really look at using the existing devices that are on your desk today. All right, what's next?
I'm just gonna say I agree with Keith. Get rid of them. I have one sit next to me and it doesn't even work because I don't use it. I unplugged it.
Here's what I'm going to say. You and Keith are probably exactly right. But when you ask someone at a front desk doing intake for a hospital, as an example, they may or may not be wearing a headset all the time, and there's a phone sitting right on their desk. And again, we'll talk to be debated whether they should have a phone on their desk and taking calls at the same time as they're bringing in patients, as an example. But I agree. There's a limited life for devices, I think, on the desk. All right, let's talk about why Operator Connect. And Brandon, there's a whole bunch of them here. I'm going to fly through these reasons here and say a few other things about direct routing as well. But why Operator Connect? Well, because you're using our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is deployed across Azure and in physical data centers, so you're using our infrastructure, so you don't have to worry about it in terms of deploying new infrastructure. Faster, easier deployments. Do you know why it's faster and easier? Why the deployments are? Because we have APIs with Microsoft. There's a set of 12 APIs essentially that we're using to tie in automation into Microsoft Teams. If you're using direct routing, as an example, you're asking your IT team to take a batch of numbers and run some PowerShell commands to get those numbers assigned to people, things like that. So there's and certainly if you're in the calling plan, you can drop down, choose where it's going to go, and do that if you're going to do the calling plan. But if you want to keep your provider, you're going to use direct routing, or you're going to use Operator Connect with a provider that's in the Operator Connect ecosystem, like G12 Communications. There's a whole lot of reasons why you use Operator Connect or direct routing. I'm just giving you some of the reasons why here. Operator Connect, faster, easier deployments. Yes. Enhanced support and reliability. That's because we're in a controlled Microsoft ecosystem. So there is a controlled environment, right? So that we've got physical interfaces into Microsoft from multiple data centers. So we're directly connected to them. So from a reliability perspective, that's a controlled environment. And then from a support perspective, we connect to Microsoft the way they want us to connect to. Affordability. Boy, we can slice this in a lot of different ways, but if you're paying maintenance, if you're paying an outsourced team to manage physical phones, if you are paying any recurring licensing associated with physical devices, and then if you're a distributed organization, you have multi-locations and you haven't even aggregated your phone system yet, then you're paying telco at all those different locations. The bills start to stack up if you're using a legacy phone system versus Operator Connect, or even direct routing for that matter. So affordability is something, there's little doubt in my mind that most organizations end up saving a lot of money. Seamless migration. Well, the migration piece is easy. Just so everyone knows out there, when you come from the telco space, like we do here at G12, porting numbers, as I know many of you have experienced a horrible transition at one point or another in your careers. But let me just say this, porting numbers is a database change. It is a database change. And what you can do, Brandon, why don't you talk about deployments? I mean, seamless migration, when you run concurrently, makes it simple.
Yeah, I mean, are we talking legacy Cisco, Mitel, Avaya, or are we talking Zoom to Teams? Do we even care? Because to us, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, to us, it's kind of the same thing. So, there's again so many ways you can slice and dice a strategy on how you're going to go migrate, and that comes down to planning. But we can take over that migration for you from a carrier perspective, where we route the traffic back out. Let's say you're hosting your own Cisco or Mitel shop, in-house. We can build SIP trunking to that. We can take over your PSTN. We can leave you leave all your users on your phone system, and then we stand up Teams Phone for you. And then we can control the routing, but we can also give you control of the routing. So now you can just cut those users back and forth as you want. Obviously, if it's Zoom or Cisco WebEx or whatever, we can do similar. If we set up a bring your own carrier model with those guys, and then obviously, like Garcia was saying, porting it's a I think the industry tries to make it sound like it's a really complex thing, but it's not, right? It's a database update that tells the world where to route that traffic, and so we can also plan just a cutover. If you want to just be quick and dirty with it, we can schedule it. We have a team that sits on a call with you on the day of cut, on the day of port, and we're there to make sure everything goes perfect. And if it doesn't, we have strategies to make sure that we can cut back instantaneously for you.
Yep. Stay on to the end, everybody. You're going to get a really cool budgeting calculator at the end of this, and we want to make sure and get you this budgeting calculator. Easy adoption. I'll just say it right now. Everyone who's even thinking about Microsoft Teams understands what the Teams interface looks like. Maybe they haven't experienced the telephony piece yet, and if there's any concern as to but I'm not going to go to just a headset. Well, we've talked about using devices with Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is just the phone system in the cloud. The interface is amazing, but you can also use any physical phone, so it makes it a real phone system, just like a normal phone system out there that any organization can use. Let's talk about the infrastructure real quick, Brandon. I know you got a couple of slides here, and really let's talk about, for people that are, if you're out selling the service to organizations, right? Meaning you're a CSP or an integrator or an IT partner or any of those things, and you want to understand how this is really connected and why this makes a difference if you're an Operator Connect provider and you're not an Operator Connect provider. Let's talk about this real quick. What does that infrastructure look like, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, this is a real high level diagram of it, but it's, on the one side, it's G12's data centers that we own and we operate. And then there's the Microsoft data centers. And regardless of where our data center is at in region A, all the way down to region Z, and likewise with Microsoft, we've got in our data centers dual circuits from our routers to Microsoft routers, again, in each data center. So we have redundancy within the data center as well as geo redundancy across the data center. So it essentially gives us a mesh network. It allows us to extend the Microsoft SLA for Operator Connect. So now we can say, hey, customer, hey, partner, not only do you get Microsoft's SLA of 4 nines, but we can also give you that same SLA because we've certified with Microsoft this design. So highly redundant and infinitely scalable.
Yeah.
And then the next piece is, it's kind of the same thing, just shows how we then encrypt our traffic across that to meet security and compliancy requirements that our customers may require, whether that's HIPAA, PCI, whatever.
Excellent. Let's show them what the real quick. We've got about 5 minutes to show before we stop for Q&A. What does our system look like when you're putting numbers into Microsoft Teams?
Yeah, so I've got two views. Let me get out of the auto attendant here. If you're sitting on the call and you're familiar with the Teams phone system, the main call out is pairing G12 as your operator, and then from there ordering the numbers from your operator to load into the Teams phone system, where it now shows up in an inventory for you to reference. So this is the team side, and then the Operator Connect portal that we've created from a customer viewpoint. And apologize, I just got logged out here. From a customer perspective, once we've paired your Microsoft tenant, it's pretty simple. Couple high level things, and then I'll shut my mouth because I always run over time with this. Is once we pair, we can pull in your users, we can see if they're licensed or not, and then from there, as a customer, you can self-serve right out of our portal. You can request new numbers. It'll pull up available inventory. You can simply just click the numbers you want to order them. As soon as they're ordered, they're available in your inventory to go provision against users. And again, you can do that right from within our portal. So if I want to give, say, Carmen a phone number because she has a license, I can just edit her as a user, give her a number. I'm going to hit save changes. Our system has the API out to Microsoft. It's auto provisioning that user with that number over here in your Microsoft tenant. So it usually takes anywhere from 30 to 90 seconds. You can see Carmen doesn't have that phone number, but when she finally does, when it finally provisions, you'll get the status update here. She will be instantly active and ready for Teams Phone. Her number will be assigned. She can start dialing calls in and out to her heart's content. So that's, a very, very, 10,000 foot view of our portal.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to touch on anything else or if we want to open it up for Q&A.
Let's open it up for Q&A. I mean, let's see if there's anyone that has a question out there. Let me, I'll put this, if you have questions, let's show this on the screen. So if you have a question ready, why don't you guys post it in the comments and we'll answer some questions about Microsoft Teams. And I'll put a timer on,
Yep.
what's the old school? Dun, na, 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 na. Is that Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Be careful. Even your singing might violate copyright there. So just real quick, while we've been talking, here's Carmen. In those few seconds, you can see that phone number was assigned. It tells you it was with Operator Connect. If I had Carmen's login, I could log in and show you that her Teams now is licensed and ready to go. It would look obviously just like this interface that this user has with that phone number assigned. So that easy, self-provisioning in just kind of seconds.
That's what makes this thing so exciting is that, we come from, we've done direct routing for a long time. So we've deployed, with PowerShell and turned organizations on with direct routing, and we still do a fair amount of direct routing. We do a lot of UCaaS with Microsoft Teams. I'm going to have this cliche in just a moment here, but so we do a lot of UCaaS with Microsoft Teams, and now Operator Connect with Microsoft Teams is really cool. That gives you basically 3 different flavors. So I was going to either go with, it's like Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors, but now we're down to 3 with G12, or I was going to say something like Burger King's, like have it your way. It's like, we've got Teams your way. However you'd like Teams, if you'd like it with UCaaS and Teams, direct routing, or Operator Connect, we deliver Teams your way. How about those?
Again, copyright, don't really know.
Just making some comparisons, lighthearted comparisons.
Yeah. I get it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing I'll touch on with just a few minutes is, we also provide, if you're an organization with thousands and thousands of users or even hundreds of users, and you don't want to one by one assign your users, you can actually use our CSV template. You can download it, apply the phone number to user assignment, re-upload it, and the system does all the rest of the work for you. So it's pretty flexible as far as, onesie twosie all the way up to bulk provisioning.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, Brandon, I'm going to let this roll for about another minute. If someone has any questions, we've got, I put the call out now for some questions. So feel free to ask. It's exciting if you're out there talking about Microsoft Teams with your customers, or if you are an end user, like I said, healthcare organizations, academic organizations, higher ed particularly, you have such an opportunity to take advantage of delivering on a solution that is low cost to your organization, and certainly the best platform out of the market today, hands down. And that's, again, we deliver a UCaaS solution that's very, very good, like a solution that is amazing. But Microsoft Teams has taken it to a different level. And for old phone guys like myself that've been this since 1998, I get so excited because I can see myself going through time solving business problems for customers and seeing the features that come out of Microsoft Teams. It just gets me really excited because I think there's so many business problems that can be solved by having conversations with organizations. So if you're a partner, if you're an agent, if you are an IT person within your organization that wants to work on solving business problems, Microsoft Teams and G12 can certainly help.
Yeah, and I guess the last plug I'll give, since I pretend to be a salesperson for a moment, is we'll we'll extend you a 2-week trial, right? 14 days. If you don't believe us, come talk to us and we'll give you a trial. No strings attached.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Brilliant. Okay, with that said, Brandon, we're going to wrap things up. Hey, everyone, thank you very much for joining us for the Everything Teams Phone live show every Friday at 12 noon. If you missed it, if you didn't stay for the entire thing, if you have questions and want to come back, every Friday, 12 o'clock, join us here. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Go finish off lunch. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll catch everyone later. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.